Baki, Yujiro, and even Garo have massive monstrous demon backs that take their physique to a whole new level of aesthetics. And I've actually developed a pretty aesthetic demon back on myself because back is my favorite muscle to train. Now, I've been training calisthenics for more than 6 years now, and I have done many exercises for the back. But since I can't cover them all in a single video, I'm going to show you guys my personal favorites that help me to develop my back very quickly. And if you're a beginner, don't worry, because all of these exercises come with easier variations, so you can develop an aesthetic demon back no matter how strong you are. And as a bonus, I'll also throw in my secret training method that helped me to develop my back super quickly. So let's talk about the back. What makes it so aesthetic? Well, obviously, first off, when you see your favorite shonen anime character like Baki, Garo, or Toji, they all have wide shoulders and a narrow waist, aka the incredible V-taper. Thomas, put some sparkles. V-taper. And a big proponent of that V-taper comes from having a wide back, because it creates that gradual line from your shoulders down to your waist, giving you that Dorito look. Plus, if you have a naturally larger waist, like myself, cry, a large back can create the illusion of a narrow waist by offsetting your proportions. So it's crucial to develop back width if you want to develop anime level aesthetics. Like, imagine if Baki had no back. Then he would just be E. Also, every single anime character with a good back is standing tall and proud, giving them more confidence and a little bit more aura. And that's because their back muscles are supporting their spine and keeping them upright, giving them very confident posture. I bet you just adjusted your posture just now. Don't lie, you did. I see you. I always see you. And developing a strong back is going to offset the grueling years of hunching over a computer, one-tricking Yasuo. And of course, having a nice back it just looks amazing. Like, you can see this on Baki and Yujiro, and especially Garo, who has a little bit more realistic genetics. Having these massive symmetrical areas of muscle that you can see poking through the shirt, it just looks so cool to have. And it's honestly super aesthetic. Like, there's something so badass about seeing these muscles contracting when these characters wind up for a punch. Don't you want that to be you? Yeah, you do. Now, there's a lot of muscles on the back, as you can see here, but don't worry too much about the details, because by the end of this video, you're going to learn how you can target every single muscle in your back to build your own aesthetic demon back. As mentioned before, one of the key aspects of aesthetics is that V-taper, and Garo is a perfect example of this. He has incredibly wide shoulders and an itty-bitty little waist, but of course, a lot of that is coming from the back width, which of course means having well-developed lats. And the best way to increase back width is going to be pull-ups. Now, this may seem simple, but pull-ups can be very easy to get wrong, and I am quite the stickler for pull-up form. So if I catch any of you doing pull-ups without perfect form every single time, first of all, and this is most important, full range of motion. You don't want to be doing any of these or any of these, just these, please. Second, and this is a big one for me because I see it all the time in the gym, no kipping. I mean, as you can see from this clip, I don't know how to do kipping pull-ups. I've been doing pull-ups for so long that I can't get used to kipping, and I don't understand why anybody would do that, because you're not training the pull-up, you're training the kipping pull-up. And that's what CrossFitters do. And you are not a CrossFitter, are you? And lastly, don't cross your feet, because it looks ugly. I'm not picky, you're picky. And pull-ups are perfect because they target the aforementioned lats. And as great as they are, one of the best exercises I think ever, I found that my back started to really grow when I threw in some different pull-up variations, which allowed me to progressively overload my lats. Variations like the wide pull-up, which automatically put more load on your back, chin-ups if you want to do a little bit more bicep work, and commando pull-ups, which give your lats a much deeper stretch. Explosive pull-ups, archer pull-ups, and even typewriter pull-ups are great for developing that power and strength, which can all help you achieve the elusive one-arm pull-up. Top of food chain exercise, if I do say so myself. But if there's any progression that you should definitely try to vary up your pull-ups, is the L-sit pull-up. It's really a true test to see if you had good pull-up strength, because most of the momentum that you could get from your legs is completely gone when your core is engaged in an L-sit. You want to know for sure that all of your pulling power is coming from your back, which is why these are great. But maybe you're still unsure of what progression you want to pick, so here's a simple trick. Just add weight, whether that's 5 pounds or 45 pounds or 135 pounds. not to brag. It's an easy and simple way to progressively overload to not only build size, but to also build strength. Now, if you're not strong enough for pull-ups, let alone weighted pull-ups, you can still make some really impressive back gains. And you can start with easier variations like the inverted row, because it's going to target similar muscles as it does to a pull-up, your lats, your upper back, your biceps, etc. And once you start getting good at inverted rows, you can start to move on to harder progressions like pull-up holds, pull-up negatives, and eventually get to the pull-up. But I think inverted rows should be done regardless of your strength level, because they develop another aesthetic part of the back, which you can clearly see on Baki. Not only does Baki have a wide back like Garo's, but he has a very thick turtle shell back as well. And you can see this in the anime, but it's a lot more prominent in his iconic side profile. Like, it's actually insane how developed his upper back is. It's thicker than Lizzo, thicker than a bowl of oatmeal, thicker than Nikocado avocado 2 years ago. Now, rows and other horizontal pulling movements do target your lats, which is why they're such a great progression for pull-ups. But they put more emphasis on your upper back, which helps to develop your back thickness, targeting your rhomboids, your traps, and all of the other great muscles up there. And progressing on the inverted row isn't that complicated. You can adjust the angle, you can make it supinated if you want to target your biceps, and you can use one hand, which is great for developing even more pulling strength. And ultimately, you'll want to progress enough where you don't need any feet support and you're doing front lever rows, which actually transitions perfectly to the next set of exercises. I think these exercises should be done by everybody, not just calisthenics athletes, because they're so freaking good. And adding these to my routine made a huge difference in my back gains, because these exercises work your entire back. And of course, that's going to be lever training. And one of the first ways that I incorporated lever training into my training is by doing the tucked front lever. Not only are you activating your whole upper back to keep your spine supported, but in order to stay in that position, you're forced to engage your lats, pressing your hands down towards your waist as you lean back as hard as you can. And as you start to get stronger, you can incorporate dynamic movements like front lever raises, and taking your lats through range of motion plus the varying degree of contractions your upper back goes through equals massive back gains, which is why I still do them to this day. But if you find lever raises or the tucked front lever to be way too difficult for you, you can always do tucked front lever negatives, which are also going to be really good as well, and they'll train the exact same muscles. Honestly, any form of front lever training can work to develop aesthetic backs. Just take a look at the strongest street lifters. All of the front lever specialists have super developed lats, super developed upper back, and they have an aesthetic look to them because of their front lever training. And of course, all of the other back training they do, like pull-ups and weighted pull-ups and stuff, but you get the idea. And if you want to achieve that level as quickly as possible, let me introduce you to my secret training method that I use to develop my back super quickly. And this is the embodiment of Go Beyond plus Ultra. It was kind of inspired by that. I call it the rep promise. And how do you do the rep promise? Let's say you want to work on your pull-ups. Take your max reps for pull-ups, let's say it's 10, and add 20% to 30% more reps onto that, let's say 12. And this is important. You want to promise yourself that you're going to finish those reps every single set each time. And if that means you reach your max, which is 10, take a little break, 10 seconds or so, get back on the bar, and continue to rep out until you reach your rep promise, even if it means you're just doing one rep at a time. Now, one of two things will happen. Either one, you're going to find out very quickly that your max reps is higher than you thought and you weren't training as hard as you could have. Or two, you know for certain that you trained to failure and beyond. You went beyond plus ultra. And I have used this training method a lot, not just with pulling, but with pushing and legs as well, in order to develop an aesthetic physique. Besides the massive back bump, my entire back would always feel like exhausted. So I know for sure that I worked every single muscle fiber in my back to its fullest. And then I'm just dead. Like, I'm dead. Do I recommend you do this every workout? No, because it can be very fatiguing. But incorporating it once or twice a week is really going to help you to develop an aesthetic demon back similar to Baki. But Baki is more than just his back. He's also his E. And E for enormous, of course. So if you want to learn how you can develop the rest of Baki's physique, then you can check out my video on it right here.